and I'm cleaning my room and the song comes on and I start singing along to the song because I like the song. I like most of the songs I write. I start singing along to the song and like the words are hitting for some reason. And I'm like, I'm singing along to the song and I start getting emotional. And for some reason, I decided to like pray for the first time in my life. So I got down on my knees and I started praying and I went to pray and I'm thinking, you know, I'm about to say all these things. And the only thing I could say, bro, is thank you. I said thank you. And when I tell you I couldn't stop saying thank you, and the more I said thank you, like it just started overwhelming me, like how much like stuff I have to be thankful for. And it's all I could say. And then when I was done, I said amen. I stood up, I turned around, and I just felt like the Holy Spirit just like surrounding all around me.
What is this? For the masses. For the masses.
Can I begin?
It's the chill kid. I got the cards to the deck you should deal with. I got the flows and out your head, can you feel it? I put the beans in the bag and I will never.
Hey, welcome to the For the Masses podcast. My name is John Barrett, your host. Hey, I'm excited. I'm back with a banger. I know my post day was yesterday, and I'm sorry I missed it, but I think it's well worth the wait. This guest that we have on the show this week, I'm extremely excited to have him on. I think he has an extremely powerful testimony. He has a talent that I think God is going to use to help a lot of people, not only through his testimony, but through his gift that he's cultivating for the kingdom. But before I tell you who he is and what he does, we have admin tasks we have to take care of. Please follow us on all platforms at For the Masses Podcast. I really appreciate everyone engaging, especially on Facebook. Just help growing in the community. So let's continue to grow it, and subscribe on all platforms. Hey, I'm back with WasionKey. And I don't know your first name, so I haven't been doing my due diligence. But how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, some people call me Wazzy. I actually was thinking about changing my name to my actual name, which is
and what's that?
Emmanuel.
Oh, okay. I mean, do it, dude.
Right? I know, right? I was actually thinking about going by Emmanuel Cristiano, which is legally my name. That's like my legal name. So
Cristiano, are you? What's your ethnicity?
I was born in Haiti.
Okay, you hate South by say.
Yeah, Nabule.
For sure, brother. Yeah.
I was born
so when I tell people like I'm from New York and like it's a melting pot, so like people don't really like that's outside of New York. They don't really know that. Like my cousins are like Puerto Rican. My aunt was Haitian. So we all grew up together. And I tell people
you got
that
a Haitian aunt.
Yeah, bro.
Aunt Rosie. That make you Haitian?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
By marriage. Think so. Huh?
By marriage.
So this is my aunt. Like I don't know how she's my aunt, but she's my aunt.
I got a couple of those.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
That's how it be. And she put me on the big ZD, and just like taking care of all the family, the kids around the same age at the same time. So, you know how it is. I probably met you.
She had me at Big ZD.
Big ZD, Big ZD, bro. Hey, first time I had Big ZD, I was like, this is the best thing ever.
That's how I felt about pizza. Never went back. Never ate Haitian food again.
Yo, you're hella funny. And it's funny because like your personality comes out on your page like a lot in conjunction with your overall like talent. And we talked about this offline, but essentially I first saw you were on a skit by Rennie. Your song was featured on the skit, and I was like, yo, this is fire. Like, who is this? And tapped in ever since with you. And that was back in 2016.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Did you like tell him, hey, use my song in one of your skits, or did you know him?
No, I don't know him at all. This is actually a thing that influencers do now, but we were kind of on the first kind of people to do it, where you just would kind of pay them to advertise your song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got a whole bunch of money together and just paid a couple of different influencers to just basically promote the song, and it did really well for the song. So I'm happy about that. But it is what it is. That it's so for some people the song stuck. Some people the song is just a song and they didn't come see the artist, but it is what it is.
Yeah, understood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think a lot of people did convert because I think back then when I started following you, it was like 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
You were at 10K. You're probably like 19, 20 now, and
Yeah.
and like I said, like immediately when I went to your page, I was like, this dude is extremely talented. He has audio visual skills. Like super into tech too, and just like making it work for himself. And back
Yeah.
then, I don't think people were like hustling like that on the internet.
Yeah. I definitely been influenced and inspired by a lot of different people who do all the things that I do. Like,
Okay.
like your Russes and your,
Yeah.
all these types of people who just do all those kinds of things. So yeah, they were out there. They were hard to find because again, it like depending on your advertisement dollars and how much money you have to advertise something is how big
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
Yeah, I agree. I also just think you had a high work ethic.
Yeah.
A high work ethic, and you were willing to put in the work to like learn the skills that like
Yeah.
other people they paid people for essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. That comes from being broke. You got, I'm sure you have to learn kind of how to do everything yourself when you don't got enough money to pay people all the time. So,
Bro, you literally, and it's so much that like it has to learn. Like I understand when people are like, hey, I need an audio guy, I need a video guy. I mean, because there's a lot that goes into it, and just learning that alone like is a skill set in and of
Yes.
itself that takes time from the craft.
But it's something you could leverage afterwards once you have the knowledge and the skill set and stuff like that. And who knows, maybe God is preparing you to do something for the kingdom when you know what I mean, when you learn all this stuff. That's the conclusion
Absolutely.
I came to. Like, like all this stuff that I've learned over the years, it's like converging to, hey, you got to do this to the glory of God at the end of the day. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I concur because it's like, what am I doing to kind of like, expand the kingdom essentially as it is on earth, and what I learned is like everyone's ministry isn't like, hey, I'm in a pulpit, whatever your ministry is, whatever your gift is that God gave you, like how can I cultivate it? Because we got to put it to work, and and I think that's when we're doing our work for the Lord and not of the world, expanding His kingdom. And I'm excited because like I followed you through secular channels, but eventually I got even more tapped in and excited with you as you started to like you got baptized and you started going that direction. So what was that like, that period of time? Well, let's start from the beginning. How was that 2016 time frame when you was with Rennie? Well, you were on Rennie's skit and it kind of like took off for you. How was that push after you were able to like get Rennie to play you in the skit?
Man, stuff, just a lot of eyes and a lot of attention and a lot of attention. It was kind of crazy. I don't regret anything that happened in my life or anything like that, but it's like just going through an experience like that and being older now, it kind of puts it all into perspective of how, people can fall into the trap of money, women, all those types of traps, but it was a big push. And again, like I feel like everything is everything that I'm doing now, I'm trying to work to God's glory.
Absolutely.
Like I've had it's funny that you mentioned the music stuff because I almost quit music for a while.
Wow.
There was a whole year I didn't release anything. I think that was 2020.
Wow.
And it wasn't because everybody was. We had the. I don't know if I could say it. Is this gonna be on YouTube?
Yeah.
I don't want to say that word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had the calamity. Let's call it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of focused on these things, but me and my family, we kind of got closer to God in those. Me and my wife and our family, we kind of got closer to God in that time, and like I'm kind of grateful that it happened.
Yeah.
In a weird way, because it allowed me to like kind of step away and just kind of hone in and focus on reading the Bible. We read the whole Bible front to back,
Wow,
and
that's a blessing.
yeah, and it just I don't even know if I answered the question. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think the period in time, after like you were in a skit with that Britney skit, with your
Yeah.
music, and you kind of got the push. You reference like your mindset at that time, be like your
Mm-hmm.
age, and just understanding that like, hey, it kind of prepared you, for like moving forward because 2020 came and you're like, hey, like let's go closer to God. I'm not releasing any
Mm-hmm.
music, and I think that's a blessing because it's like, hey, like this talent I've been using for secular purposes or selfish or
Let's just
fleshly.
say it. Let's just say it.
What,
Using
fleshly
it
or the
for the
world?
enemy.
Yeah, for the enemy, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I respect you. You're so
Mm-hmm.
funny, dude. But so using it for that aspect of things, and it was working,
Yeah.
more or less, and you started growing, and then it's like, hey, man, like, and it's like, hey, people in this world, we're in this world. We feel like if we get XYZ things, it's going to make us feel whole. It's going to make us feel full. It's going to
But
make
it
us feel like
doesn't.
we're going where we're going, but it doesn't at the end of the day.
Man, I'm telling you, at the beginning of this year, actually, like towards the end of last year, I was really in like grind mode, and I started releasing a couple of songs and stuff like that. I released like 4 songs before the year ended,
Yeah.
and like I was riding like this wave of like going back to like just making music and just
Yeah.
making secular music and all that stuff. And I feel like God just put his hand on my chest right here, and he said, "Yo."
Yeah.
Not he don't say yo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he just basically like paused me and said, "This is not what I made you to do."
Yeah.
And like I've like again, I had like it's a constant struggle with me with doing music. So I thought I should stop doing music again, and then I said, "Why should I stop doing music? That fear, that anxiety is not of God."
Yeah.
The
It's not
thing
of
that's
God.
telling me, "Hey, don't do music." Yeah, music is a gift that God gave me, so I should make music for God.
Absolutely.
So I almost feel like I'm learning how to do music all over again with all the new music that I'm creating, because
Yeah.
I have like a reverence for God where I won't just say anything.
Yeah.
But I also have that I want it to be fire.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I
You're
don't
so
want it
funny,
to be
dude.
corny. I don't want
But
it to
well,
be
'cause
corny.
that was the dilemma for years in the Christian space, though. Like it's
Mhm.
like, oh man, like everyone like doing Christian music is stuck in the 2000s, and it's like,
Right.
man, like So I'd be seeing like Caleb Gordon, Alex Jean, um, Big Vert, like all these young guys. They're just like so talented, and
Mhm.
they're sending a message at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing. And I know like you're definitely capable of doing that, man. You were doing Wazzy Wednesdays. That's what they
Yeah.
were called.
Wasabi Wednesdays, yeah.
Wasabi Wednesdays, bro.
I was doing those. Yeah, I always listen. Nothing against I don't listen to Christian artists actually.
Okay.
I don't listen to Christian music. I don't really consume a lot of music as I used to back in the day. Um I'm more so cuz it's such a business now for me where I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do music, I'm going to do music that makes me money but doesn't like tear my soul apart.
Yeah, understood.
And the music that I make for myself or for my fan base, I'm gonna make that for God.
Yeah.
So like I still do things like sync licensing and like music for brands and stuff like that. That's kind of separate. That's like the music that pays me, and then this stuff is the music that I want to make.
Yeah.
And it used to be secular music, but I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't want to do that too much anymore.
Yeah.
Who
I
knows
understand.
who knows what's gonna happen, but I'm definitely excited to bring out some of this, my offering.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
No, that's a blessing. And like, so what do you think after you gave your life to Christ and you kind of like strayed away from the music and in the sense of like making it and like really producing it? What made
Mhm.
you like, hey, like I want to do this for the kingdom? Where you're like, hey, looking at your gifts, looking at your talents, and was like, hey, what can I contribute to the expansion of the kingdom? Was that like what happened?
Man, honestly, nah, it didn't happen like that. I think as a creative person, you always want to be in the realm of being a creative.
Yeah.
So I feel like after I stopped doing music, I kind of started focusing on filmmaking because it was like
Yeah.
a hidden little passion of mine that I know a lot about movies,
Yeah.
and you start getting too deep into that, you start seeing the demonic and the cult and all that crazy stuff too. But anyways,
Oh.
aside from that, uh, it's I am a creative, so I
Yeah.
started diving into photography and you know, filmmaking and stuff like that, just to kind of keep doing something creative. And then those skills kind of added to the skills that I already had with music, and I just started, I can't stay
Emerging.
away from music. I really
Yeah.
can't. As much as I try to get away from it, I always come back. I'm the type of person, I sing in the shower. I'm always making up songs like in my head.
Yeah.
Like, let's say if my pen drop, I'll be like, "Get up off the floor, little pen. What you doing?"
Yeah.
I'll make a song about anything. That's just how I am. So, like, I took a break from it, but I never really stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand that. And like
Mhm.
so like just like really took a break from like releasing music.
Mhm.
And then obviously like now making like the pivot into like really like, growing the kingdom, because that's our duty.
That's our
Um
duty for sure.
it really is. And it's like, hey, like, how are we being of service? A lot of
Mhm.
people like, even for me, like with the podcast, right, like I expressed to you, like, I was interviewing anybody, no matter who they are, if had a big name, if they had a big following, kind of like looking for that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
ultimately I was like, hey, how is this like expanding the kingdom? How is it like me using it as a ministry to help bring souls to the kingdom?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like how am I going that direction? And I
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I was doing it spurts here and there.
Right.
But and even when it comes to like work ethic and consistency, it's like, all right, well, hey, well, you're not doing it for it's not for yourself, not for your fleshly desires, or if it is, like, leave it there. But like, how are we like this work that you're doing? Are you doing it to the glory of God? And the
Mhm.
answer was no. The answer was no. And and like you're very encouraging for me, because you were pretty like open about your faith journey.
Mhm.
I feel like I saw several posts, and I didn't see you for a while, but I saw several posts of you talking about your journey. I was like, man, that's a blessing, man. I'm waiting
Mhm.
for this Fire Kingdom 3 mixtape to come out. And I was
You
like, all
know,
right,
I
it's like,
I was an atheist for a long time.
really.
Yeah.
So
I was
why?
Well, cuz you know, again, I don't want to offend anybody, but I grew up Catholic,
Yeah.
and it's kind of, I'm Protestant now,
Yeah.
but it was just kind of a lot of things I couldn't reconcile in my brain. Also, growing up, going to schools and what they teach you about evolution and stuff like this, you start learning about this Greek goddess. You start learning that there's several different religions. You're like, hey, what the heck is going on? Oh,
Yeah.
you
It's a
start you
lot.
start going on a journey to discover the truth.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of that. I'm like very knowledge driven. I like to learn.
Yeah.
I like to learn about a lot of things. So I basically I just, knowledge kind of the pursuit of knowledge kind of kept me like ignorant towards God. I feel like if you kind of believe something, if you have a bias towards something, then it's all you're gonna see. You ever see like a car
Yeah.
that you never saw before, and then you
Yeah.
start seeing that car pop up all the time?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same way with whatever you're looking for, knowledge wise. If you're looking for evidence that there's no God, you're gonna find it. But if you're looking for evidence that there is God, you're gonna be overwhelmingly shown that God is real,
For
and
sure.
it's gonna trip you out. And
Yeah,
that's where
dude.
I'm at. I
And
actually
it's a blessing.
Go ahead, go ahead.
No, that's a blessing for sure. And then like
Yeah.
your story about, like, a lot of people who grow up in different denominations,
Mhm,
essentially, like I went to a Catholic university, and a lot of
mhm,
people kind of had that same conversion from like Christianity to traditional Protestant or Protestant non-denominational,
Mhm.
because of like theology differences or like church differences or things like that. But
Yeah.
that's incredible. But you were talking about your evidence.
Oh, well, I there's so much. There's too much.
Yeah.
But one thing I could say is it's weird. Music kind of brought me to God. I
Okay.
was this was back in like 2000, maybe 18, maybe 17. I was being managed by this guy, and he was a terrible person. Like he was really bad. But he commissioned me to write for this gospel artist. And I never wrote a gospel song before, but I wrote it anyway. And the song is, I don't know if you've ever heard it. I released it. It's called Holding On by a Thread.
Yeah, it's fire.
Yes. I wrote
That's on
that as a
SoundCloud.
complete
That's fire.
atheist. I did not
Wow.
believe in God at all when I wrote that song, right?
Really?
So, no, I didn't. I wrote it. He said he told me he want the concept of the song to be holding on by a thread. And me thinking, no, I'm talented enough to do this. I just kinda wrote, kind of what I'm feeling and added God into it.
Hmm.
Listen, bro, like 2 months later, maybe 2, 3 months later, I really don't want to say this, but I was smoking a lot back at the time. I was really, really, really up there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm cleaning my room and the song comes on and I start singing along to the song because I like the song. I like most of the songs I write. I start singing along to the song and like the words are hitting for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm singing along to the song and I start getting emotional. And for some reason, I decided to like pray for the first time in my life.
What?
So I got down on my knees and I started praying and I went to pray and I'm thinking, I'm about to say all these things. And the only thing I could say, bro, is thank you. I said thank you. And when I tell you I couldn't stop saying thank you, and the more I said thank you, like it just started overwhelming me, like how much like stuff I have to be thankful for. And it's all I could say. And then when I was done, I said amen. I stood up, I turned around, and I just felt like the Holy Spirit just like surrounding all around me. And ever since then, I've been like on like a journey to kind of discover like, yo, what happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like I was transformed. And I feel like, looking back and telling you this story now, this is what inspires me to do, non-secular music and worship music and stuff like this because, I feel like I can help somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible, bro. Because it really is that true. Because a lot of believers, as we are looking to grow closer to God,
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason there's a whole book of Psalms, and
Mm-hmm.
hymns and things like that for us. Because it really those words and like when you've been through it, and then you're like God pulls you out of it, like it really does hit different.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Maverick City concert. They just did their one of their recordings for their new albums, man, and it was just like the spirit was in there, we're in there, and there were certain songs that I'm just like calling out, and it was like putting my hands on, and I'm like, man, yes, yes, and it just like makes so much sense,
Mm-hmm.
because us as believers in a secular world, we're in the world but not of the world, we're here, we're going through these experiences, and it's like we have a father, Abba, to go through, and like, man, like he really did deliver me from this situation, he really
Mm-hmm.
did save me, and it sounds like you were just convicted, bro, and that's a blessing, and he knew you would be a, like, help expand the kingdom, and like
Mm-hmm.
and that's incredible because I love that song. I had that song on repeat off of SoundCloud, and I wasn't even using SoundCloud back then.
Yeah, when I tell you my knucklehead teenage son loved that song, that's when I knew it's something to this. Because
That song goes.
all he listens to is other types of stuff. So he would
Yeah.
have that song on repeat. So it's like, yo, there's something to this. So
Man, that's a blessing, and it really is a story of God bringing you to Him through music, bro. That's incredible. I didn't know what you meant at first.
it's wild. Yeah, but that's what happened. Because it's not a song I planned on releasing. It wasn't even a song for me. I just wrote it. And it's like as looking back on it now, it's like I guess the Holy Spirit helped me
Yeah.
write it. Yeah.
Man, that's a blessing, and like again, you're very talented in like using those skills and those gifts that God gave you to cultivate it for the kingdom. So now you're cultivating that muscle of like, hey, what does like it what does it look like to speak in your music as a Christian, and
Mm,
like an actual message, because
you
sometimes
hit
it
it.
is a hype thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
definitely, it's what I sound like doing secular music is not necessarily what I sound like doing Christian music, but
hmm,
it's similar. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I feel like Christians, we like, it's so funny. I wish I could play you something, but I feel like Christians, we speak like a different language.
we do,
Yeah.
bro.
And I have a song that kind of touches on that, but I kind of, now that I'm speaking on it, I kind of want to dive deeper into the I might make a song. I will make a song diving deeper into that mind frame of it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I feel like it's we speak a whole different language than what everybody else speaks. And it
it
used to
is,
be a
bro.
foreign language to me, and now I speak it very
You,
well.
bro,
I'm
it's so
bilingual.
true,
Hmm. Yeah.
bro. I literally never thought about it like that. And I think because for me, like a lot of the terms and like the way people would say things
Yeah.
are like were super like common. So
Yeah.
I really didn't like take think anything of it. But a couple months ago, I feel like I was talking. I was like, man, like if I the way I speak to a Christian, I feel like it's different how I speak to like a non-believer.
Exactly.
And and there's also a certain level of accountability that comes with being a believer that we have to hold
Right.
each other to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like different. Like, hey, how are you going closer to God? Did you do your devotionals? Hey, do you hold him accountable doing your devotionals? All right.
Right.
Hey, this ain't no milk and honey. We gotta
Right.
go
Right.
deeper,
Right. Right.
bro. And
Mhm.
what is your experience with the language, the language differences? Like, and I can't
Well,
even explain it right now, but like I understand what you mean completely.
I have a story.
Okay, let's do it.
This was like a couple months ago. I had written on my stories that I want to stop doing secular music, and I do
Okay,
that. I do that to hold myself accountable, right? Um, one of my followers, he had responded to me, and he was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Why?" And I wanted to start to explain to him why, like a regular human being, right?
yeah,
Like a regular, like I wanted to say, well, I don't. Essentially, what I'm saying is, I don't think God wants me to make this type of music, right?
yeah.
So that's what I said to him. But then I realized that he was, let's call it bilingual.
Okay,
So then I started talking about, yeah, I want to be a fisher of men. I want to bring sheep to his king, and just saying all of these things. And it's like that's when the different language came out. You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about? It's like the talking about, oh yeah, I'm what's the word, conviction, and I need to discern this and this and this, and all of these words that just like, if you're Christian, you use these words regularly all the time, fruits of the spirit,
literally.
all that time, all that stuff. But to explain it to a regular person, like to I just gotta say, yeah, I don't think God wants me making that type of music.
Yo, yo,
You
I
know what I mean?
understand completely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Completely. So
Yeah.
it's funny because it's like when we first got on, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to spread righteousness, and
Mhm.
it's like, all right, well, talking to a non-believer, they're probably like, what does that mean? Like, you don't think it's right or something? And I'm like, no, no, it's good, bro. I was trying to
Yeah.
expand the kingdom,
Mhm.
and then people
What
are like, the
kingdom?
kingdom,
What?
the kingdom, America.
Whose kingdom? Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's funny that you like, and that speaks to like the intellectual side of you, that you notice that I don't think it's a barrier discrepancy, but it's the reason why we're peculiar people.
Yeah.
Us as a believers, and we stand out, and people are like, what's different about him?
Yeah.
I've had people like, even when I'm like in a peak and valley, valley as it relates to my faith. I have people walk up to me, hey JB, like what's going on? Like, what's that about you? Like, what's going on with you?
Mhm.
Essentially, and and I think it's like the love of God, and not saying that like anything special about me, but everything about our God, right? And and I think that's how we're walking epistles. We're called to, like, no matter what we're doing, whether it's you in your music, your filmmaking, you're walking down the street, like, hey, can people like see the God in you, and like how
Exactly.
can you help bring them to the kingdom, you
Yeah.
know? And that's why it was like for me, like taking the podcast serious and like really
Yeah.
going that direction.
Yeah.
Not saying I don't fall sometimes,
Right.
but like, you know, continue to like, you know, give the grace that God has given me to like continue to like, you know, in this process of sanctification.
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, like Jesus was perfect so that we don't have to be.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
absolutely, bro.
Yeah. But we
And
still gotta try.
we still gotta try.
And that's that's the hard part. We still gotta try.
Bro, that's the hard part, man. And like we're in a world, man, where it's like so much temptation, like even more because of social media
Yeah.
and you know things like that. And it's kind of like, man, like I want to do better. I want to be better. I got a Christian podcast, you know, or you're a Christian artist. Like how can I continue to like go in this direction and like you know not, you know, you don't want to fake it either
Yeah.
because you know everyone's going through things. But it's like, how can I do it in the most genuine, authentic way that people like really are attracted to the gospel as opposed to like
Being
and
attracted to me.
yeah.
Because it's not about me.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Like this is why like I changed all of my bios and stuff to put, you know, I want the first thing that people see about me to be God.
Yeah.
Like literally, I want you to visually see follower of Christ, God first
Yeah.
in my bio before you even read anything about me. Because that should tell you everything you need to know about me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And man, and it's so real because it's like, again, there's a song called Suicide, and my friends were going to my playlist and they saw it. They was like, "Yo, you said this was a Christian playlist?" Like it is, you know. But it's about like dying to self
Dying
every
to
day,
self, yeah.
every day,
That's
bro.
another one of those Christian terms that only we speak. That's one of them. Dying to self.
Yeah, so it's funny because like she saw like one of my friends, she saw it and she was like, "Suicide." Like, I thought you said it was a Christian. I was like, no. And then I explained it. She's like, okay, like whatever. And I was like, no, it's real. But it's so real because it's like we have to take ourselves out of the equation, you know, and like I think a lot of us, that's a lot of ego and pride and like really our flesh, and like especially for me, you know, just trying not to be like that, because I've been like that for so long,
Right.
and people are either found me judgmental or arrogant or whatever the case is, you know, and like I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to turn someone away from the gospel, from you know the kingdom, because this is salvation we're talking about, right?
Right.
And
that's important.
it's
the most important thing.
Most important thing, man.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's funny you did that in your bio though, because mine used to be, follow him and then follow me. You know, and I used to just say stuff like that in my bios too, bro. You know, so that's a blessing, man. Well, I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. It's a blessing, especially coming through like, you know, atheism, and then, you know, coming back to, you know, Abba. So what did you find in that period?
Which period?
The atheism, when you were atheist and you were trying to like find out what else is out there.
What I found is I had a hole. I was missing something. You know what I mean? Because it's, you know, there's this song, Firm Foundation. I'm sure you know it.
Yeah, it's my firm.
Right. That's my jam. Anyway, but it's real. Like when you don't have a foundation of Christ, you get swayed any which way. Like at one point I was like super like I don't even know what you would call it, Pan-Africanism. I was really into that. I was I was into like esoteric stuff and you know all this stuff that's kind of like, it's really witchcraft. I never got into like the secret and stuff like this and the manifestation and stuff like this. I never got that far. Cause I always had in the back of my head, like just standing right there behind me was like Jesus going, you know, dang well, you're not supposed to be messing with that or doing that. Yeah. But you know, like I said, there's no foundation in any of those things. This is why I feel like a lot of people get swayed from this way and that way, especially me when I was younger and just kind of, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like learning about slavery and what they didn't tell us about slavery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm angry about this. Nah, that don't really matter in the, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, you know, we're all slaves to sin. Bars. Hold on, let me write it down.
Bro, I was ready to tell you, you're putting your sermon together right now. This is your sermon on song. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you
bro.
Go ahead.
No, I was ready to tell you that after you finished. I was like, say, yeah, like your mission is like to, you know, deliver a sermon through a song.
Yeah.
You know, that ushers people to the kingdom.
Yeah. And you know, I've been reading a lot of Psalms lately too, just trying to like kind of, all right, let me see how this guy did it. You know, he wrote songs about God and songs for Jesus and stuff like this. So let me see how it's done. Because yes, I want to do it. I want it to be my offering. You know, I want it to be my offering, but you know, I don't want to come incorrectly to the temple and get burned up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to make it. I'm just trying to make it as pure, but as me as possible.
Man, that's a blessing too, that you want to have that intentions, because it's like, it's really not even like a perfectionism thing. It's more of like, I want to have an offering that's like giving glory to God. I really want to like offer something to God. I don't want to get not saying that your fear of rejection from God, of like not rejecting your offering, but essentially like, you know, hey, something that's like worthy of, like, I put the work in to, you know, to bring this offering to him, to like show him like I love him with my heart, my mind, and my soul, and I'm going to be obedient to you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, back to what you said about firm foundation, bro, it's so true. It's so true. And I was talking to a young lady yesterday at work, literally yesterday, and she was saying that how, like, you know, I just don't agree with like how, like, you know, Christians are saying that, like, you know, homosexuality is like an abomination, you know. And I was talking to her about it, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's a sin, you know, but I'm not gonna sit here and make it like it's better than, you know, me fornicating or adultering or anything like that. I'm not going to sit here and do that, you know, but I did express to her about the concept of like dying to self and like flesh. And, you know, you're dying to yourself on a consistent basis. So whatever your attraction is, whatever your sin of choice is, dying to yourself, you know, and like, that's the whole concept of like us as Christians, literally. You know, Jesus Christ came, died for us. Hey, like, hey, we're dying, we're giving our life to Christ, we're dying to ourselves, and we're going that direction. We're being new creatures, you know, and not that doesn't mean like we're going to be perfect immediately, you know. But hey, if I have an attraction to, you know, women outside of marriage, you know, adultering, or whether someone's attracted to their same sex, you know, we got to die to those attractions, those fleshy desires, and and that concept. But if you don't have that foundation of like, hey, I'm dying to myself, you're gonna think like, oh man, like, I don't see why Christianity's right then. I don't see why. You know,
you're gonna start being compromised.
Yeah.
As the thing. And you know, I as much as we want to be, we're not gonna be accepted by the world.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. You know, I try not to. I was really political when I first, you know what I mean? I had my, you know, I was like, nah. I was going so hard for the kingdom because I felt like for such a long time I was like on the other side. So I was like, no, don't abort no babies. Don't do this. Don't do that. I was going crazy, and you know, it turned a lot of people off. And just, you know, now I'm realizing, hey, you know, do the thing that is your gift.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not my gift to get on a podcast and talk to people about whether or not, or give my opinions on these things, or give my, you know, I don't want to call it opinions, give God's opinion on these things or stuff like that. Maybe it's it is my gift to actually sing about it, and you take it and you reflect on it, then you go read your word, or read your word first, then reflect on it, whichever one comes first, you know what I mean? And that way, that's my gift, that's my offering. Again, that's my offering. And you really got me thinking, now I'm gonna call this project my offering or something along those lines.
Fire. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey,
fire.
Listen, I don't know yet. But but yeah, that's, you know, man.
Yeah, that's a blessing that you like to recognize that too, especially early in your Christian journey. Because I feel like especially like people who grow up in the church, you're kind
Mm-hmm.
of like are so stuck in your ways. So either
Yeah.
like you're like, hey, like I don't know for myself, and that's something my mom told me when I got 12 or 13, got really
Yeah.
rebellious, and I was like, why do I gotta go to church at 9 a.m.? Like you have to go, but I don't have to go, And she was like, John, you got to figure out for yourself.
Right.
You
Ooh.
got to figure out for yourself, bro. And that's the best thing I can ever thank my mother for doing. Like, let me
Yes,
figure out
sir.
for myself,
Yeah.
you know. And like, so if you don't have that like that opportunity to practice autonomy
Mm-hmm.
early on
Yeah.
instead of like later in life,
Yeah.
it might not, the ramifications are a little bit like worse, so
Yeah.
so that was a blessing for me specifically. But like early in your Christian journey, a lot of people are so on fire for the Lord, they want to just like go and like testify to people in their face
Yeah.
and like make them
Yep.
feel bad or like feel like
Yeah.
they're doing something wrong, and that's necessarily not always the approach. That's going to work sometimes,
Yeah, but
but
the crazy thing is we don't think that's what we're doing while we're doing it. We're not trying to make
yeah.
anybody feel bad. We're
Yep.
just like, oh my gosh, God is real. I have to warn you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then you get told that that's hate, and it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't say anything, and that's equally as bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, you gotta find that nice little, you gotta find whatever it is your gift to give your testimony, and that's why
Bro,
I'm like, yo,
literally.
yeah,
Literally. And it's funny that you say that because like even me, I feel like I've kind of like transitioned from that portion of like, of like, trying to like make people understand who God is.
yeah,
I find even now when I don't even talk to people about it, like it could be like someone at work and they just be walking to me and I tell them I'm a Christian and they're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, yeah, I saw the way you looked at me when I said that. You're judging me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm not judging you, bro. Like,
Right.
chill.
Maybe that's the conviction in you. Speaking of work,
Come on.
yeah, it's so
Come on.
crazy. It's so crazy, bro. Like, man, there used to be. I have so many things to say. Like, I never get to talk to nobody about this really.
Yeah, bro,
But
let's do it.
when I was I had a job like 2 years ago where I was working like in a mail room or something like that, and this was like the first time that I had been around people in a long time.
Okay.
And bro, all I talked about whenever you spoke to me, every conversation ended up, I was talking about God in
And
some way, shape, or form. And it was to the point that I was annoyed with myself. I'm like, yo, am I this guy? I'm this guy at work. But it's like the more I spoke, the more they wanted to know.
yeah.
It's like people are curious about it. A lot of people don't know what's in the Bible at all.
Yeah.
They don't know. They just have like preconceived notions. Like I had no idea that there was such an like the genealogy
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. I had no idea. I thought this was just a book of stories and stuff. This is a historical artifact.
Literally.
Literally. I had no idea. And it's just like, that just spoke to like the part of me that wants to learn, and you know what I mean, and just and wants to discover things. And then I'm sorry again, and I'm gonna let you have it.
No, it's good.
The girl said the way you looked at her,
Yeah.
you were judging her. I feel like the demonic strongholds on people, when they get triggered by your actions, if you have the Holy Spirit in you.
Yeah.
For sure. And it has nothing to do. And the only reason I say that is because there used to be this Instagrammer, and this was back when I was atheist. I don't know why I hated this lady so bad. Every time she talked about God, I would get angry, like, oh, this bead, and just I would say it out loud. It's like, yo, where is that coming from? This woman has never done anything to me. And I had seen her when I was I seen her today, not today, but like right now, and I'm like, yo, why was I so angry at this lady for? She's spitting facts.
Yeah.
Follow.
Bro.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you saying that because sometimes it is like I used to take offense to it Because
Yeah.
I'd be like, what? Like, I never say anything to you people, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, and it's not like I'm like, oh man, like, yeah, you should like change the way you live or anything
Uh-huh.
like that. No, it's literally like, oh man, I'm glad you had a good weekend, or something like that.
Right.
What you do? I went to church. I went to a Maverick City concert on Monday night. It was a blessing, and just like good. Me and my fiance, or something like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
you would go to a Christian concert.
Yeah, with your fiance, you're getting married, huh?
Oh yeah, like literally, it's like so like that's kind of like the dynamic I was having for a few years. I'm like, yo, like what is it? Like what's going on? And then it is like, again, peculiar people, like peculiar from like what's going on in
Yeah.
the world. And
Yeah.
then the other thing too is like how this false sense of this thing called spirituality, kind
Right.
of taking bits and pieces of the gospel or
Right.
like, and like using like, I don't say like yoga, but like using like,
No, say it. I'm with you.
yeah, like some
I'm with you.
cultist like type of like
Yeah.
habits and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you're trying to like be spiritual and like you're identifying as spiritual, but you're saying I have a God. I don't have to go to your church to to like God, which is I understand the concept, but I understand it like now you're being selfish because it's bigger than you. So like if you're really talking about this Jesus Christ, this God that you're saying um it's a little bigger. It's a little bigger than that. And like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever your gift, your ministry is, like, why aren't you sharing that with your community?
Yeah.
And helping them be armed so they can help bring souls to the kingdom. So it was like that whole concept. And I was like, man, like it really is like the devil is crafty. And he's active right now.
Like they said, having a form of godliness but denying his power.
Mm.
You know what I mean? This is what all that spiritualism and witchcraft is. It's like, oh, I believe in a creator. You mean the creator? What are we talking about? 'Cause we can talk
Literally.
about it. You know what I mean? But
Literally, and even when I'm talking to people about interviewing for a podcast,
yeah,
I don't always have like, well, like me and you, we didn't talk before this,
yeah.
but
This is our
sometimes I
first
talk with
time.
people. First time, and
Yeah.
you're chill, bro.
I'm
And
extremely nervous, but I'm drinking water, so I'm good.
bro, no, bro, don't be nervous, bro. I can
I'm
edit
a,
whatever.
bro. I'm a introvert, like extremely introverted, and I don't leave the house. I don't really like to do anything, so I'm nervous in a way where it's just like I said, it feels like this is my first time. You know what I mean? This is my
Yeah.
first time getting on an interview and really talking about God. I've done plenty of interviews before.
Yeah.
I've never been nervous. I just go on there and just say a whole bunch of bullcrap. But
Yeah,
but this
I
time
understand
it's
that.
like, it's like this time is something real. That's how I feel.
No,
Mhm.
and like I said, it's a blessing that we got to connect, and hopefully we continue to cultivate this relationship because we sharpen each other as believers,
Mhm. Yep.
You should have a place where you can like, talk to other men specifically about
Mhm.
like the things that's going on the battlegrounds,
Yeah.
so like I said, I'm honored, man, that you took some time out and share your testimony because it's going to free a lot of people. A lot of people who have been in your situation, will have your similar journey to you,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and it really is a journey, it is a blessing. But I'll say this too: he's the enemy. The enemy's crafty right now, and there's a lot of like demonic stuff going on. But it's also like we have to be like prepared. We have to be prepared. We have to stay in the gospel. We have to read our word.
Mhm.
And nothing that like you said on this podcast has made me feel like, oh man, like no, he's like not like reading his word. No, it
Mhm.
seems like you're a progressing man, a Christian man who's like, striving to be as Christ like as possible.
Yeah.
And like no one can be mad about that. There's people who are going to comment on stuff and say like, oh, there's nothing about that in the Bible, no theology behind it, but ultimately like, hey, how's your relationship with God? Are you
Right.
helping other people like go in that direction and you're helping them save their souls?
Yeah.
Through Christ.
Yeah.
So yeah, man,
Exactly.
you're
Through Christ.
it's a blessing.
Mhm. Man, this was great, man.
No, man, I'm like I said, man, like I said, I've been a fan for a long time, and,
Yeah.
and like I said, when I saw you like get baptized and start posting and holding on by a thread, I was like, fire, bro.
All right.
And I was like, man, like, yeah, let me reach out. I was just convicted. I saw you post something a couple days ago. I was or maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was
Yeah.
convicted, and I was like, man, let me reach out and see what he says. So it's
What
been a
did I
blessing,
say?
man. Something about it might have been what you said about, hey, I don't want to do secular music anymore.
Okay.
It might have been that because it was like
Yeah.
a black story, and I was like, man, I used to love his music, man. He did that one song, like he's going direction. He's ready to
Yeah.
drop this fire tape. I'm ready to tap in.
Nah, it's coming. It's coming. I think what I'm gonna do is, like I said, the more I try to hone in on it, the more I get distracted. And the more this opportunity comes along and this opportunity comes along. And I was really just sick of it. I'm like, yo, leave me alone. I'm trying to drop this. I'm trying to drop this music. So I feel like when I drop the first single, the floodgates is gonna open, and I'm ready for it. But
yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for you, man. Like, so where can people tap in with you? And well, before you do that, there's a lot of people who are in this journey. There might be in a period where you were in when you were atheist, right? And they're looking for more. They're looking for that firm foundation. So how moving forward, how can they continue to like grow closer to God? And like, what do you encourage them to do?
I think I just had this conversation with one of my buddies too. I think it really starts with the music, because a lot of people spend a lot of time with music, especially if you listen to music. A lot of people spend a lot of time with music, and they let it get into their eye gates and their ear gates and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And it's bad for you. Like, the music that you're listening to really affects you. So my start how I started. Listen to like some gospel music and sing it to yourself, and see the transformative power that it has, because worshiping God casts away demons.
Come on.
Like, so when you worship God, like they can't come next to you. They can't be next to you while you're worshiping God, because you inviting the Holy Spirit next to you, and they scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the first step, if anything. Change what you're listening to. And the rest
that's real.
The rest will probably happen for you. That's at least what I did. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I know it's a blessing. It really is, because it's kind of like you become what you eat, and
exactly.
and it's so surreal, bro. And so where can people find you? So when you do drop your tape, they'll be tapped in.
I'm gonna drop it under WasionKey as well, because I'm producing a lot of my music. So I think I'll stick to producing as WasionKey. But yeah, you can find me at WasionKey everywhere. Once I settle on whether I want to be Cristiano or Emmanuel Cristiano or whatever the case may be, then you guys will know. But it'll be still connected to my WasionKey pages.
No, absolutely, man. I appreciate you for taking the time out. It's been a blessing learning about your story, learning about your testimony. I know it healed a lot of people just to hear your transparency about the gospel. Well, your transparency about your journey to the gospel, and your vulnerability in this state and time. So I appreciate you. We got to do it again, my brother.
Thank you. I'm ready whenever you are.
Absolutely, my brother. Hey, have a blessed one for the Masses Podcast.